You're listening to the Things of That Nature podcast. Coming to you from Denver, the Mile High City, is me, your host, Rockshana. I invite you to join me for truly honest, passionate, and fun talks that motivate, invigorate, and maybe inspire. When you're ready in the Mile High, the sky's the limit. Everything and anything goes. So let's start talking about things of that nature. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this bonus episode of the Things of That Nature podcast. I'm your host, Rockshana, and today I'm really excited because I have my first guest that's not from Colorado, not from the US at all. And I'm really happy he reached out. Today, we're going to talk with Olof Jonsson, an artist from Sweden, lead singer of a band, and all the fun stuff that we end up discovering about him, which I'm excited. So, hello, Olof. How are you?
Hi, I'm really good. Thank you.
That's awesome. So right now we're recording. It's about 9 o'clock at night for me. And then it's like the beginning of your day, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning and it's Friday over here.
Oh, it's
so
Friday.
I got up pretty early to do this interview.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Let's just say you're going to start your Friday off great after talking with me.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. So before we get into your music, and I do want to get into that, what's a little bit about you and living in Sweden?
Yeah, living in Sweden right now, as you probably heard on the television or your news, we have the corona as well as you have, but our society is pretty open still. So we know corona is all around us, but sometimes we forget it. You know it because you can't meet your parents. And when you're at the grocery stores, people stand pretty far away from you. And they say we shouldn't leave our home for places that are 2 hours away by car. So that's the situation in Sweden with the corona, but it's really okay if you compare with a lot of other places in the world.
Okay, so staying home, very similar to us here, nothing too foreign. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And then let's say corona didn't happen.
Yeah.
Is Sweden the place where there's just so much going on and very active all the time?
In Sweden?
Yes.
Yeah, depending on where you live, of course. But yes, I think there's pretty much going on. Especially in my life, it's normally does, because I think I do a lot of things and I'm pretty interested in a lot of different things as well. So yeah, there's always a lot of stuff going on.
Cool. And were you born there?
Yep, I'm born in the south of Sweden. So I actually have a different dialect than you would hear if you listen to television in Sweden. And if you start listening to our music, I also use that dialect as I sing, and that's not really normal. There are a few people, of course, that do that, but the normal thing is that you sing in what you call rikssvenska. That is kind of the Stockholm dialect.
Okay, so would you say that's your little tweak, your little have you for your music?
Yeah, it is actually. I also started out singing in the Stockholm dialect like everybody else, but a year ago or something like that, we started, let's try doing it in my own dialect just to see how it sounds. And it sounded great. it was really hard to do it in the beginning because you're so used to sing in the Stockholm dialect. So when I tried to sing in my own talking voice, it sounded not like me in the beginning. So I had to talk all the lyrics in all the songs just to not overdo it. But when I started singing that way, it was really more me and not somebody else. So it's a thing that we do, and I think it's really, really great, actually.
I see how it makes you different from other bands, other artists.
Yeah, here in Sweden, I actually don't think people with other languages really hear it.
And you're a full band. Have you always been in a band, or were you ever like a solo artist?
I've never been a solo artist, and I haven't been in a band always. Actually, I started playing in this type of band pretty late. I was about 30 years old when I started. I played a trumpet when I was 8 years old, started playing the trumpet. Mm-hmm. I think I played trumpet for about 8 years, but I got tired of it because the music that I was playing didn't get to me, really. It was just I got to the technical thing with the trumpet, so if it should be technically challenging, I didn't like the music. And then, of course, I was a teenager, and there was a lot of other interests that took over. But when I got to the age of maybe 25, there was a guy that said, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice to be able to play the guitar?" And I thought, yeah, it would. So the next day I went away and bought a guitar and a chord book. This was a little bit before internet was too big. And I started playing guitar and singing along to my guitar play, because I realized pretty soon that I will be able to do the chords on the guitar, and that too many people will listen to a guy that just do the chords. So then I started singing, and I found one of the calls in my life, actually. But it was pretty late, about when I was 30 years old, that I realized, but wow, it's so great to sing. And then I reached out to a little bit different sets of bands.
You reached out a couple of bands. Did you ever think you were going to be the lead, or how did that happen?
Actually, I've been the lead singer in all of the bands that I counted. But this is the first time we do our own music, and I can say I never thought that would happen, because I was okay with doing covers, since I run my own business as well, and this has always been a hobby, a very serious hobby, because I think everything I do really seriously. But I was okay with doing covers and doing weddings, birthday parties, parties for companies, and that kind of stuff, and just play for people the songs they knew. But when I started with Simon and Emil, the other band members in this band, we started doing semi-covers, where we took songs that everybody knows, English, Swedish, American, old pop songs, and rewrote them to more of a rocky style, and then we changed the lyrics to Swedish, and we didn't translate the lyrics. We did our own lyrics to the song. So our goal was, you should say, I know this song, but I can't say where I heard it before. And that was actually the start. And when we played that for maybe a year, we said, let's try to change this one of the songs really much, and we did that. And when we changed it, and that was actually when I started singing in my own dialect as well, we thought, this is much better than the other stuff we do. Why don't start writing our own music totally? And so we did. And actually, that was Simon that pushed that a little bit in the beginning, because I think he always had a dream to release his own music. So you could say all of the music that we have written so far comes from Simon's original idea. So he makes a little bit of a melody, he has an idea of the lyrics and some riff, and then he brings it to us, and I maybe change a little bit with the lyrics and a little bit with the melody, sometimes very little and sometimes a lot, and then we make the finished product together.
That's pretty neat how that transitioned from, you guys doing half covers and all of a sudden you're doing your own music in your own dialect. It sounds like you guys have a lot of time to sit, discuss, go through this. Practices must be real long.
Yeah, we actually we only practice, it depends on who you talk to, but once a week. Mm-hmm. But when we do our practice, it normally is about 7 or 8 hours. So the day after, you're a little bit sore in the throat. Normally.
I bet for singing for 8 hours. Once upon a time, I used to sing, and I get sore in the throat all the time.
Yeah. I you have to send us a recording of your singing. It would be nice to hear.
Oh no, you guys are good without me. So what's the name of the band?
The name of the band is Pressure, and we have that name because most of the songs is about different kinds of pressure. It could be good and it could be bad. So it's a pressure from maybe your boss, your employees, your partner, from society at all. And we always try to write the lyrics. We put a lot of time writing the lyrics. So you could see from two or more different sides. So you can interpret it in a good way or in a bad way, actually. It's a little bit up to the listener to try to interpret what we mean. We won't put everything exactly the way it is. We try to leave it so you can interpret in different ways.
That's a neat origin story of a name. And you said you own a business? Is it a music?
Yeah, I own a bakery. I started a bakery 10 years ago.
Baker?
Yeah.
What led to starting a bakery?
Actually, it's been a pretty long way. Since I've been 5 years old, I said I'm gonna be a baker when I'm getting old. And when it was time to do the study where you can choose if you want to study to something, I said I always said I want to be a baker, so why don't try it? And I did, and fell in love with it pretty right away, and worked as a baker for a few years, and then I decided I want to start my own business, and I tried to start my own business already at 2001. And when I mean start my own business, I started my own business in 2000 or 2001, but not a bakery because I couldn't get the bank to lend me money. I was too young, I didn't have any guarantees, and I think they thought, who are you and you're too young, and why should you start a bakery?
Right.
So I tried to start for 3 years, and then I got tired of it, and I thought, if I start now, I only start because I'm stubborn and not because I have the love for it anymore. So then I started a confectionery company instead, where I made my own recipes with confectionery, but I had other people produce it. And I went around in the town of Stockholm and started selling it. And I started with one product, and I think a few years later I ended up with 500 different products, everything from pralines to marzipan things that is